Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be going over how to make some dreamy, somewhat hopeful or nostalgic type lo-fi. I don't really know how to classify it, but we're going to be breaking down my upcoming track and I'm going to show you guys the full version of the song and then we're going to jump into Ableton and show you how I made it. So without any further ado, I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, so let's just go ahead and jump into it. We'll break down the introduction first. So the song opens up with this drone here. And this is using Spitfire Labs. And I'm using the pedal pads, tape piano patch. So this is free, which is always great. And on top of that, I have a little bit of EQ8 as well as some convolution reverb. And if I just give this a little play here and solo it. You can see it's just playing one B major chord throughout the entire introduction. So it just gives you a nice little ambient drone in the background. Now on top of that, of course, I've layered some Cymatics Life recording, and it's a backyard recording which has birds because I love having birds in my songs. So anyways, this sounds like so. You can see all I've done was up the width, and I've also added in an EQ. So that's like the main ambience for the introduction. We also have this piano riff up here. This plays again inside of the breakdown of the song, but it's an octave higher. So I wanted to introduce this in the intro as well. That way, halfway through the song, you don't just get a brand new instrument out of nowhere, and it feels kind of out of place. So I wanted to include it in the introduction. So if I give this a little play, let's solo it as well. So I have some automation on there. I'm using the, I'm automating the gain, that way it fades in. And then I also am automating the dry wet on spaced out, which is what I'm using for reverb. I'm automating that way it gets really big and washed out towards the end of the introduction. That way it's kind of a smoother transition. And if you're wondering what I have on here, so it's the Magiro 2 piano, and I always take the tone down a couple steps, in this case -5, and I believe that's about it for that. Then I have some OTT, some EQ8, some spaced out, and then the spaced out is just the default patch, so clean start, and I've gotten rid of like all of the delay stuff that happens on the left hand side, and I believe this is around 30% normally, but I'm currently inside the automation where it's a little higher. And then after that I have another EQ8, and also you might notice this little pitch over here. So I recorded this in on my computer keyboard instead of my MIDI keyboard, and it's just easier if I throw a pitch on there and then pitch it to whatever scale I'm in. That way I can just play like this. I can play the C major scale on my keyboard, but I'm actually in B major. So it's just a little cheat code that I like to use when I'm using my computer keyboard. And that about sums it up for this piano part here. So after that, we just also have our intro chords here. These are the same chords that play throughout the entire track. These do get switched up a little bit. For instance, right now in the intro, the velocity is a little lower. They're also more strummed than they are throughout the rest of the song. And I believe some of the notes change a little bit. Yeah, I also have some intro guitar here as well. And I had to freeze this because my CPU was getting eaten up. But this is just using my guitar chain that I've broken down in another video, which you can check out in the corner up there. Yeah, so that's the guitar in the intro. I think that about sums it up for all the instrumental elements in here. I also have some transition effects, so let's just go ahead and play from like right here. Alright, so for this, it's pretty simple. I just have some chimes, and I have an auto pan on here, and a bunch of EQ, and I've upped the width, and I think, yeah, I also have it going to a reverb send. So if I solo this, it's just chimes. And then we have this little like cymbal riser, which is just EQ'd, more reverb, more width. Yep, nothing special there. And then we also, I wanted to try something, I haven't done this before, but I wanted to try using some organic sounds to create risers and transitions. So I have this first sound here. This is just the sound of a stream, and I'm automating the volume, so it's like a white noise riser. Oh, you can hear my cat in the background. And then on top of that, I also have this. This is more of an ocean wave. So if I just give this a play. Yeah, and then all together, this sounds like so. Yeah, we'll start it from here. Yeah, so I just wanted to try something new, see if I liked it. It's alright. I could probably tweak this a little more, but I'm going to leave it for now. And that breaks it down for the intro and the transitions. So moving on, let's just go ahead and look at some drums, because these are pretty simple. Zoom in here a little bit. So let's play the whole drum loop here. Yeah, so that's it. I just have this real simple hi-hat pattern here. That's it. Just a little bit of EQ rolling off some of the highs. And then I have this perk loop, which I've added some reverb to and some EQ. That's it for that. And then I have two snares. The first snare. And then I have an accent snare. So on the accent snare here, I have this delayed just a couple milliseconds. And so together, sounds like so. Really the accent snare is just there for the tail. And then just a basic kick. And so those are the drums. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and go over the chord progression here. So this does vary throughout the song. Like in the B section, everything is more strummed and we get rid of all the accent notes. And then also every 8 bars or so, we're adding in an extra note as well as changing some of the accent notes too. So here's what all 3 layers sound like together. So let's just play this. So that is the chord progression for the most part. So the foundation of it is just this Lounge Lizard, which is an electric piano. On here, we just have an EQ8 and some sidechain compression. That's about it. You can see by itself, it sounds kind of boring. Which is why we always layer. So the first layer is a serum patch. This is Pad Fragile. Is this default? Nope, this isn't a default patch. This comes from Hawk's Presets, which I think was free. So you can go check that out. And this pad sounds like so. So if we, there we go. If we play both the electric piano and the pad at the same time, you see it just sounds a little more full. Now on top of that, I also have this. This is another electric piano that I bounced. I believe it's the Tena electric piano. Let's check. Yeah, the Tena electric piano. I bounced it out, and then on this, I've more or less turned it into a second pad. So we're using this EQ8 here. Oh, I lost my light, but that's fine. We shall finish this in the darkness. So I'm using this EQ8 here. I have Portal on here, which just makes it choppy and more. It makes it choppy. It adds more dynamic to it. So I just have this up all the way 100%, and I'm using the Flutter Clouds preset. I also have an align delay on here, which is just making it come in a couple milliseconds after the chord actually plays. We have some convolution reverb and some EQ to clean it all up after all these effects are added. So if we just play that, and then adding that on top of everything. Maybe. There we go. Yep, so that is about it for the chord progression. I think I mentioned this, but we're in B major, so it's just like a 1, I think like a 5, I think it's like 1 5 1, and then another 1, and I think a 2 or something. I don't remember exactly what I played, but It's just B major. I find that most of my songs are in B major, so I should probably switch that up at some point. But moving on, we also have this little synth sound here that comes in at the end of about every 8 bars or so. 4 bars maybe. So that's just there to kind of accent the song and just fill it out. And I believe, yep, so we also have some vocal effects. Solo this. So this is just playing pretty much just a B major chord, and we're using the Fink signature. This comes from Spitfire as well. We're using the swells as well as, which one's this? The swells. And then I have those panned left and right, and if I solo them, there's the There's the ahs. And I've added some spaced out. Looks like we just have a clean start. And I probably messed with the delay module over here, if I had to guess. We also have some echo in EQ8, and then kickstart just to give it that pumping effect. So with kickstart, without it. And then that just sits in the background really low as well. So you can kind of notice it with the whole song. Let's unsolo everything. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so the break goes a little something like this. We'll just play it from here. For the break, we're dropping out that bubbly little synth sound here. We drop that out and we bring that in at the end of the break. We're also dropping out the drums, and then we slowly bring those back, and then the piano from the intro is back in an octave higher. And then as well, I have a separate guitar track here. This one is not, this one actually isn't using my chain that I use for like the melody guitar. This is just using an EQ8, a little bit of compression, and I think that's it. I wanted this to sound a little bit different, a little bit more relaxed than the melody guitar, which is just really washed out in reverb and like crazy delay. So for instance, if I play that for you, let's just jump to like right here. So there you can see there's a bunch of ping pong echo in there, and it's a lot heavier on the delay or on the reverb than the guitar in the break. So if I play that, so I just wanted that to stand out on its own, so that's why it's not using the same sort of guitar chain. As well, for the drums, if we look at the automation, these slowly come in, they also slowly drop off for the outro, and they slowly drop off for transitioning into the break, which you probably heard. So I think that about wraps it up. This one's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. For mastering, all I did was I threw on Ozone 9. If I turn this on, I threw on Ozone 9 and I just used its automatic mastering, like the master assistant here. I just used that and tweaked it a little bit afterwards. But you can see it's just got an EQ, a dynamic EQ, a maximizer. So if I play this with and without Ozone on, let's do without. Let's get to a part that has most of the instruments. So without. So yeah, that about sums it up. Thank you. Alright, so that about sums up the track. If you enjoyed this, I included a pre-save link down in the description, so you can go ahead and save this and be notified when it's released to whatever streaming platform you use. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching.